The SVS Graphic Novel Pro course is about to begin again. If you're looking at that price tag trying to figure out, should I do this, should I not, what's this even about, stick around and I'll try to help you with that answer. This video is mostly about some things I wish I knew before I took the course last year. Welcome to Panels in Progress. My name is Chris and today's video is about Graphic Novel Pro course, what you can expect and what I wish I knew. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I've been making comics for the last couple years. I took the Graphic Novel Pro course and I also took Jake's comic book workshop classes as well. So I'm very familiar with the course and really want to share the information I gained from that course. Let's start off with the course itself. This is not a review. I can already tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed the course. I thought it was well worth the money and I would recommend taking it if you're serious about making comics, making graphic novels. The beauty of this course is that you have Jake Parker and Sean Crystal. They're two sides of the same coin because they both have different experiences on different ends of the industry. Jake bringing in his professional work with working with publishers and making comics that way, whereas Sean Crystal in the trenches working with comic book publishers. A whole wealth of knowledge that they bring together and it's amazing. You probably already know about the course. It's 10 weeks and each week you get videos, you get information, you get handouts, all these things that are going to help you bring your story to life. But this 10 weeks is more of a reality check because there is no way you can get a comic done, especially if you're new to comics or graphic novels in this 10 weeks. It goes by so fast, and because if you're like me, you have a full-time job, you have family, you have a life outside of creating comics, you realize just how much time it actually takes to bring your story to life. So if you have this gigantic story that you've been waiting to make and you're thinking this is the perfect opportunity to join up and make this, you might be slightly disappointed because you're not going to get that comic done within this time frame. However, you will be more prepared to make that comic after this course than you probably would have ever been. I have my own epic story that I want to tell and I've been trying to wrestle with it, but the way Jake proposes you tackle this thing, you can do one or two things. You can either have a short story that happens within this bigger story just to kind of get you comfortable with storytelling and the formatting and all the things you need to know, or you can just basically start on the first chapter of that big story. It took a project that was extremely gigantic in my mind and it did crunch it down and make it smaller and make it more manageable. What I wish I knew before I did the class was already have your idea ready to go, because literally you are going to hit the ground running with plotting out your story, thinking about the story beats, the themes, the different meanings, and you are going to get drowned in information about story and how to concoct a story, how to concoct a scene. So much information is going to be shared. I would definitely recommend have a short story ready to go, simple 12-page story, maybe a little bit more if you need it, but the shorter the better if you really want to get the most out of this program. Now, this leads me into my next topic about the community experience. You're going to be experiencing this whole course on SVS Learn, and it is encouraged that as the weeks go on, you are doing your homework, you're watching the videos, filling out the worksheets, you are sharing your work on the forum. And the forum is kind of, I'm split about the forum because yes, you're able to share your work and yes, you might get some people to look at it from the class and they might even leave comments and things like that. But it all really depends on when you post and who's available to actually look at your work. I found that if you weren't posting within the first couple of days, that usually the later off in the week you would get less and less feedback on your work because there were just so many people sharing their work at the same time. Your experience with the community is going to vary. You're not always going to have everyone looking at your work. I will say that I'm pretty sure that they've replanned or replotted how this is going to work, so you can take my advice with a grain of salt, but the community is there. You can share your work. You will see other people's work, and you're allowed and you should contribute your own critiques and guidance for your fellow students. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about Sean and Jake? Are they going to be active within the forums? Are they going to be reviewing your work? And I'll say that this part, yes and no. Some people did get comments directly from Jake and Sean on their work and their progress, but there was a lot of people, maybe their work got seen, but it didn't get commented, so you're not really sure if they saw your work or not. The community is there, but you might not get the attention that you think you're going to get from the creators of the program. But the one great thing about the course, and I think this part of the course is worth it for the entire price point, is the weekly office hours. The weekly office hours are where you can ask whatever question you want with an asterisk. This is your time to shine. This is where Jake and Sean are going to go through all of your questions and provide answers. When they ran the course the first time, they had some of the sessions in the morning time. They had some of the sessions in the night time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be a part of the live feed of these sessions. However, you do get to post your questions in advance so that way they can review them during the live feed. And I think this is a great value because whatever you're working on that week, you do have to keep your questions within the topic. So if the topic for that week is penciling, then they would prefer that all the questions be penciling and whatever else they might have covered previously. Let's say you have a marketing question, but you haven't reached the marketing week. They would prefer that you wait until you get to the marketing week to ask your marketing questions. But that is to say that if you have your questions and you know exactly what you want to ask, just write them all down. And then when those weeks come up, ask your questions. I would also advise if you can provide a sample of whatever you're looking for or need help with, go ahead and include the sample in the comment of the question because they're going to be there to review it right then and there to help you out. I love this part of the office hours. Most of the time, even though they said they were only going to do an hour, they went well over an hour. Sometimes it was an hour 30 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. It just depends. But if you could be there live, great. If not, put your questions and they will answer them. I love the office hours. The other thing I want to say that is extremely important is hopefully you have been doing your homework throughout the weeks. And they did this for our group. I'm not sure if they're going to do it for your group. I hope that they do. But if they request that you share some pages from your thumbnail stage, share those pages. Share your pencils, share your pages, whatever they're asking for, share it. Because this is the one time that, without a shadow of a doubt, we'll have Sean and Jake looking at your work, giving you feedback and saying what they think or what they feel about your work or how you can improve it. Invaluable information. I actually saved the clip of them reviewing my thumbnails because what other time are you going to have two professionals looking directly at your work? So if they ask for this, please go ahead. Make sure that you complete this assignment and get it turned in so that way they can review it during that session. So yeah, those were a couple things that I wish I knew before I started the class. I didn't finish my entire comic idea. I think the idea was way too big to finish, but I did value the worksheets that were shared, the office hours that they had, and even the community. I made some friends within the community and we did a mastermind together outside of the Graphic Novel Pro. We worked with each other for several weeks to help each other get that feedback, get the help that was needed to help finish out those ideas, finish out those comics. So joining the community and being active in the community, who knows what it could lead to in your future. As you know, making comics can feel kind of solitary. So having that community support could be a game changer, because while you're working on your ideas, someone else is working on their ideas, and together you guys can support each other to bring those ideas to reality. So another great benefit. I think that what you get out of the course is completely worth it, but there are several things that I just want to tell the next batch of students going into Graphic Novel Pro. 1. Pace yourself and set aside time. Each week you will receive a series of videos, a series of worksheets, a series of things that they are asking you to watch, complete, and then do whatever else is required of that week. Make sure that at least you have a Saturday or a couple nights a week where you're devoting time to do those things. And make sure you're devoting time, and it's important that you're doing these things preferably before the office hours, so that way you can ask questions. 2, if you fall behind, it's okay. You can still continue posting. There were people, while we were in week 4, they were just posting their week 1. Did they get enough comments and reviews of that work? I'm not sure. But they were still going and they were still trying their best. So remember, yes, you can pace yourself, but it is very easy to get behind on Graphic Novel Pro. 3, any questions you have, write them down. Make sure you're using your office hours. You can even if it's not time for office hours, you can put them in the forum, and they'll either be seen by Jake, Sean, or Dustin, or they will be answered by your fellow colleagues in the course. Either way, your questions will be answered one way or another. So take advantage of that as much as you can. This course, you get what you put in. If you're going to do the work, if you're going to take their advice, follow their guidance, you're going to have something, maybe not a complete project by the end of the course, but you're going to be on the path to completing that project. But there is work involved. And the last thing I'll say, that maybe after they have given you everything they have and they've told you everything they need to tell you, it could also be that you discover that making comics isn't for you. And that's okay, because I think a lot of people love the idea of making comics. They love the idea of making manga, but once they realize just how much work goes into it, they decide they'd rather create illustrations, and that's okay. But if you are passionate about making comics, making manga, creating your graphic novel, then definitely check out Graphic Novel Pro. So hopefully now that you know all of these things that I wish I knew before I started the course, you can go into the course with some extra fire because you're even more prepared than before. If you know someone who's interested in going into Graphic Novel Pro, please share this video with them so that way I can help them also be prepared for Graphic Novel Pro. And if you guys have already taken the course in that first season, let me know in the comment section below. What did you guys think about it? Is there anything else you would share with the next batch of students that I left out? Put it down in the comment section below and let's all help each other out. I'll see you guys in the next video.